Good morning, everybody. How is everybody doing this morning? All right. So what do we think of the venue last night? I know it was a repeat of last year, but what do we think? We didn't have to go far. Everybody happy about that? All right. Good. Okay, so first and foremost, for folks who don't know me, my name is Zach Fishman. I am one of the co-proprietors of this event. Alongside my partners in crime, I have Mr. Ryan Hicks on the side. Ryan. I have, of course, Lane Fisher. Rain, raise your hand. Woo! And then, of course, I have Brad Fishman. Brad, raise your hand. All right. So, for folks who don't know what Young Conference is all about, you are probably looking around the room and seeing that it's a little younger than a normal franchise conference. There is a reason for that. We honestly didn't feel like that we had a place to be able to do an event like this, and so, Brad and Lane came to Ryan and I saying, we've always wanted to do this, but one, we're not young, and two, we don't actually want to do the work, so will you guys figure it out? And so we did. And so, in 2019, we came up with our first Young Conference down in Miami, and it has grown a lot since then. So our first event, we had under 100 people, and this year, and don't tell the hotel I'm telling you guys this, but we are at 196 as of today, which is phenomenal. So, a couple bits of housekeeping. So for tonight, we are going to be going off site. So it's about 7 blocks from here. You could walk if you want to, but I would say that you probably won't want to. So it's at a place called Umo. It's a really awesome spot. There will be full food, so there will be no reason for you guys to go off and go and get food elsewhere. We are doing a full-blown dinner buffet tonight. So that's the first thing. The second thing, everything is going to be in this room. So you guys won't have to leave. Everything will be here. Lunch will be here. Everything will be here. Lastly, I would say, we are going to have all of our panels up here today, but the last thing we're going to be finishing with is Shark Tank. For those who were here last year, what did you guys think of Shark Tank? Did we like that? Okay. So all of you guys are probably pretty familiar with the show, but there is one thing that I am going to be asking of all of you. We are actually having the audience vote for the 3 people of the 6 that will make it to the next round tomorrow, which will be closing out the event. So we will be sending to you through email and also through the app a link for you guys to be able to vote when that happens. So just keep a lookout for that. How many people have the app? Have anybody have any trouble with that at all? I know that some of you may be raising your hand for that too. If you have questions about that, please just let me know and I will help you in any way I can, or Haley will be in the back to help you as best she can too.
It's franchisors.com in the App Store.
And if you have had the app in the past, we updated it to be franchisors.com, so you guys wouldn't have to re-download it every 15 seconds. So.
It's best to have that one, but the old apps also work. Hit the little hamburger, you can go to Young Conference.
Yeah, so we are going to be sending out that link to all of you, and we are going to be asking for your participation. The big part of this last year, and we'll have our winner actually being one of the Sharks this year. Aaron, can you raise your hand wherever Aaron's at in the room? Aaron's coming. Okay, well, there we go. Somebody make fun of him that I called him out and he wasn't here.
Aaron went out too late last night. Too many drinks. Just a joke.
The irony is that he literally doesn't drink. Okay, so for today, there's a couple bits of housekeeping. I do want to call up 2 people who, of course, they're really the only way this event is possible. Lane and Brad. I would love for you guys to come up very quickly and talk a bit about our next event that we're going to be having, and I try to keep Lane on his toes. Our next event that we're going to be having, which is Springboard. So let's let them talk about that for a second.
It's wonderful to come up to an event and find out I'm Zach and Jake's father now, and not Brad Fishman, who I've been around franchising for a long time. But it's exciting. I mean, it's great to see how this event has grown. As Zach kind of mentioned, Lane and I put together this event. The idea came about 6-7 years ago. As both my children were entering the franchise space, I thought it'd be fun. A lot of us have relationships that go back years and years and years.
It was cheaper than a babysitter.
But it was an event where I really think it's important. A lot of us have grown up together. A lot of the friends Sherry and I and Lane have made, we've been friends with now for 25 plus years. And we travel all over the world and have great times. And I think it's so important for the relationships you make here. You're going to have some great speakers, great panels, but it's really the relationships that make it in this industry. which led us back to one of our original event was, I don't know if anyone, I know a few of you have been to one called Unconference, which started out as a ski trip, which kind of led to a work trip. And this way, we have that at the March in Park City. And then our next one became Springboard, which is in Philadelphia in September. This is Lane's little baby, and I'll let him kind of go through on it.
Now, Springboard, how many people have been to a Springboard before? All right, the event brings its own attendees. We are blessed with, I guess, the good fortune of having people entered into these relationships and made economic benefit from them. And that event just continues to grow and grow. Everybody you ask has a person or a thing or something they learned or did or met at Springboard. So we hope folks will join us this year. We'll be putting out a lot of information. Our theme is the Philly Grand Prix, modeling after the F1. We have a lot of great creative stuff coming out, so please spread the word, share it on social media. We're trying to go all out on the social media promotion of these things and appreciate when you repost stuff that we put out there. Our big news and our big announcement is that we have secured Bob Rosenberg, who was not, his father was the founder of Dunkin', but there is no patriarch of franchising bigger than Bob. There are not a lot of people that are aging out, as you see with their franchisor brands. They're selling them. There are PE firms coming in, and there aren't a lot of folks who have been in the driver's seat, as Bob was for, I think, 35 years, ending in the early 2000s, where we know Dunkin' went through a lot of changes through that time. His whole story is a self-deprecating story of like not everything works and timing's everything and ups and downs, and it should be an amazing presentation. We hope all of you come and share our enthusiasm for that and help us spread the word for that. What else, Brad, on that one?
So we'd love for everyone to come to Springboard. It's a lot of fun. Our parties are way more bigger and more wilder than the parties here because we have big venues, and it's a lot of fun. It's great networking for emerging franchisors, and we're fortunate that we can call on a lot of our friends to come speak at the conference. So it's all different types of things of what franchisors emerging, re-emerging, growing. It's a great opportunity to meet the people, and it's fun to take the 200 people we have here and make it 800, which we'll have in Philadelphia.
Well, and we're looking for obviously new speakers and new topics to speak on, right? We're aging out, right? We don't know. But we know that this was a great vehicle, and this is part of the reason that motivated us to do it, was to try to identify, obviously, first new talent, and then really what's new and hot. The change that occurred with social media and digital marketing has totally inverted who are the smartest people in the room in a way that totally benefits younger folks. And so to the extent that you guys are doing anything, particularly franchisors who are accomplishing a lot with a little or doing things that would help other emerging brands, please share it with us. And if you're willing, share it with our audience. But just get with me any time or place you want about that, here or elsewhere.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful time.
All right, everybody.
All right, thank you, Brad and Lane. Okay, so a couple people I want to thank before we actually get into the nitty-gritty with Ryan here. So can our committee stand up very quickly, if you might? Thank you. All right, so we had the help of a lot of amazing people. Give them a hand, guys. This year would not be able to have happened without them, to be honest. As Jeff jokingly put last night, I can be a bit of a control freak, and these people really kept me grounded, and it was important for us. Ryan and I are very much a yin and a yang, if you know us well. But we definitely, the people that were involved in our committee were, so important in making this event the success that it's been. So 2 other people that I want to say thank you to are in the back of the room. Haley and Lexi, can you guys raise your hands in the back? All right. So this is Haley's first Young Conference. Haley just started with us really actually at the very beginning of this year. So we threw her into the fire, as we certainly do. And so Haley has done a phenomenal job. And of course, Lexi from Elysium Marketing Group is helping us as well. And then lastly, I have 2 other folks. Alisana and Carly, can you guys raise your hands as well? All right. So Alisana and, of course, Carly from Showmaker Productions make this event look pretty. I know we all generally are pretty, but they actually make it a reality. So I want to say thank you to them for doing that. And then lastly, of course, I want to thank 2 people who have to put up with our shit a lot when it comes to Ryan and myself, which is Shane and Hannah. Would you guys raise your hands in the back as well? So Shane and Hannah are kind of Ryan and I's partners in crime, respectively, and without them, we would probably be pretty lost. So I think it's really great to, of course, have them here and have their support as well. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to bring on my partner in crime when it's not my fiance, of course, Mr. Ryan Hicks.
Woo! So what I want to do is actually expand a little bit on why we're here in this room. So Zach mentioned 2019 was the very first Young Conference. It was in Miami. It was a lot of fun. But the real kind of, if you peel back the layer, the mission behind the next generation gathering place for franchise folks, it's ultimately to help people connect, help people learn, and help people grow. If you look at what Brad and Lane did with Springboard, with Unconference, way back in 1760s, have to make the age joke since we're here at Young Conference, but it's actually incredible. What these guys have built is beyond phenomenal, and it's really fun to see the connection points that happen, as you go through the years. And so that's the purpose of this event. So just by show of hands, who in this room, as you sit here today, you have a plan and you have a strategy to where ultimately you want to sell your business one day? You have an exit idea. Who in this room is with a platform company and you buy businesses, or you're with a private equity and you're in and around acquisitions? Raise your hands high. So all of these folks that are here that just raised their hand on both sides of the coin, and I would posit to you that a lot more people should have raised their hand on the first, but these are the events where you can kind of get down to the nitty-gritty. It's absolutely critical. Go to IFA and go to all of these different events that exist, but it's kind of the vibe that these guys created with their initial events. It's what we're carrying on here. And so me, as I'm the CEO of Franchise Supplier Network, that's what I do. Jake Fishman right here. Jake, raise your hand, by the way, if anyone doesn't know Jake. Zach, Dana, it's what our whole team does. Connect, learn, grow. It's the thesis. I invested in 2 emerging brands, actually 3. 2 of those brand presidents are here. It's a lot of fun to bring them into here and watch them connect and learn and grow. So that's ultimately kind of the true north mission of why this event exists. And it's ultimately, it's very special. I want to also share, why I'm in franchising in general. To me, franchising represents the American dream. I was fortunate enough to have incredible parents. My mom was very entrepreneurial, still is. My dad taught me about patenting and licensing and trademarking and this thing called franchising from a very young age. He actually wasn't in franchising, and then it was fortuitous. I had a next-door neighbor that was a multi-unit franchisee. He was in the Sonic system, and so I had this kind of abnormal awareness about franchising, literally as like an 8, 9, 10-year-old. And I'll say that the multi-unit operators, we have several here that have very impressive portfolios. Those are the real rock stars in franchising. Without, not just multi-unit, but everything goes back to the success of franchisees. Who here has been to the multi-unit franchise conference in Vegas? When you're flying into that event and you land and you look over to the right, you see all the private jets? Those aren't the emerging franchisors that are flying in on those. But ultimately, it maps back to the franchisees and the success of franchisees, and that's why we're all here in this room. My girl, Zach mentioned Shane. She is the founder of a brand, and what lights her up more than anything is, and she even, she gets emotional about it, and every founder in here and every executive in here can relate to the fact that there's nothing that feels better than looking at someone when they come in your system and seeing them 3 years, 5 years down the road, 10 years. In her case, she has some franchisees that have been in the system for a long time, and they've made their dreams happen. And that's what, franchising, it sucks people in. I had this kind of weird conscious focus on wanting to be in franchising from a young age. And so, I don't know, I just wanted to share, why I'm in franchising and what that means to me and ultimately what this event's about. Lastly, there's a lot of talk about responsible franchising. Aaron Harper, who is actually filming something on responsible franchising right now, has really done a great job of calling that out and speaking to it. IFA has a big focus and a platform on responsible franchising. But if you kind of strip down the mental gymnastics, responsible franchising is you sell a unit or award a territory, however you phrase that. You open that unit, and you help them make freaking money. And that's responsible franchising. And so we have a lot of people in this room that, it's like iron sharpening iron. We're helping each other. So take a look to your left, to your right. These folks, make sure tomorrow you sit at a different table. Make sure tonight you're chatting with folks. That's why we're here. And I'll just say, for everyone here, it's not a huge investment to come to this event, but you made the investment of time. I know that you have fires to put out. You have a lot of shit going on. And, make the most of the time while you're here. Zach mentioned the app. Use that as a resource. Text myself. Find me. Text Jake. Text Zach if you want to meet and connect with anyone in the room, whether it's a supplier or whether it's another franchisor, a founder, someone in similar industries. We want to make sure that those connection points happen. And so one of the resources that are at everybody's fingertips is franchisors.com. It's really the kind of the umbrella of Unconference, Young Conference, Springboard. So we have all past conferences, conference keynotes, and panels for the most part on that app. It goes back, I think it actually goes back until 2016, 2015, 16. There's a tremendous amount of knowledge in those. And yes, there are like certain hot topics and trends, but there's timeless value in those. And there's over 500 podcast episodes. Zach and I have been hosting podcasts since 2017. All of those podcasts are there, expert articles. And so I want to speak to that here in a second. Here's a quick view of the site. So there's a search function where you can go search out different topics. There's articles. We have I have to click every single one here. We have the video library. This is what the video library looks like. And then, obviously, the podcast that I just talked about. And probably should have tested this first. So I think it was Thursday of last week, we launched the monthly digest. So this gets back to kind of why I'm running through all this. The monthly digest. So every month, we're going to be sharing a hot take. We're going to be sharing recent content. There'll be content from events like this, etc. There's going to be articles and then also other resources. There's a massive body of information also on supplier search and discovery, etc., etc. This is kind of going to be a synthesis of the goings-on every single month. So make sure that you're subscribed, although I will say since you register for the event, you're going to be subscribed. It's only once a month. But what we're actually looking for folks to do, if I go back here, is we're looking for folks to become contributors. This is a good opportunity for yourself, good opportunity for the brand. If you have something expert that you want to share, become a contributor. There's a form. You can fill out a little form, give a little bit of a directional on what it is that you want to talk about, and we're looking for folks to become contributors. So I would absolutely encourage you to go to franchisors.com and contribute. And if you kind of wrap up, you look at the whole body of what Lane and Brad started and ultimately what exists today. I'm half blind, so I can't even see my slides here, but ultimately attend the events, Unconference, Young Conference, we're here. Springboard is in September. It's a phenomenal event. Learn. There are articles, everything that I just run down. There's a lot of great information, and also you obviously get to learn in person. Contribute. If there's one thing about franchising, it's that we love to give back, we love to contribute, we share our ideas, maybe not every single idea, but we bring it to the table and we share for the good of the industry. Connect. If you want to get connected, reach out. Franchise Supplier Network it's literally what we do for a living. We just connect people. We have 130 some odd suppliers. That's going to go up to, we have data on probably 900 franchise suppliers. And so we just know a lot kind of in that realm. It could give you a breakdown of directionally, you give us what you're looking for, we'll connect, but also founder to founder, maybe you want your marketing director to get connected to other marketing directors. I see several people that have little communities and online things. So we want to be a hub to be able to also connect you when you want to be connected. And ultimately, back to kind of what I started with saying is we're here to grow. And so that's all that I have, but I'm super ecstatic for Young Conference 2024, and I want to give a special round of applause to Mr. Zach Fishman, because he's he recognized the what do you call it? What do we call it? No, what you were on, the committee. I couldn't think of the word committee. But Zach is the guy, on weekends at all hours of the day when he's done doing his day job and then his night job. He's over here stressing. I think Zach probably already has the agenda for next year. Just like the kind of the overarching overview. He's literally making me next week when I land in Dallas, I have to go look at venues because we're looking at a few different cities and we're going to be polling and getting some feedback from folks. But he's sending Brad over somewhere in Scottsdale. I'm going somewhere in Dallas. And so big round of applause for Zach because a lot of this event is Zach. And absolutely love seeing all of everybody in here. It's good to reconnect with the folks that we see often throughout the years, and it's also great to meet new folks. There's a lot of new faces. So I'm very excited to introduce here momentarily our next speaker. Zach, do you have anything else?
I don't, and I'm going to go to the stage, I promise. No, thank you, Brian.